Let's look up to one of those aspects you have mentioned. You talked about the agricultural sector. We've heard so many stories, beautiful stories about the agricultural sector, but for the pragmatist, he would want you to prove him further, to show him things. And for the empiricist, he said the Christmas or the Yuletide is one opportunity for the government to show that the agricultural sector has done well. And if you go around, and I'm sure you went round, there was hardly any made in Nigeria, even rice. We went round.
Seriously?
There's hardly any made in Nigeria rice that people even distributed or sold during the Yuletide.
I don't think you are correct. That is far from correct. And I think it's embarrassing making that kind
It can
of
be
statement.
embarrassing because I'm a
One
journalist.
thing that is out there
I'm a
solely
journalist
is that
just like yourself.
rice,
We went round.
There is a lot. Are you saying that? You are saying that?
Well,
you are wrong.
I'm saying that. We went round.
But you are wrong. You are wrong. I'm telling you, you are wrong.
Oh,
if no agricultural commodity, if none are to be produced in Nigeria, it's not rice. Rice? You are wrong. That's the wrong information.
Well, we thought that, you know.
You telling me that it's wrong does not make me wrong.
Well, you know,
we're talking
because
about,
it's easily verifiable. Look, this program is not going to stop today. You can go use today to find out, and then when you come on tomorrow, you can then say what your reports and
before I asked the question, and I told you that we went round. So I'm not basing my question.
You didn't see or are you aware that there is any made in Nigerian rice?
None. I'm not basing my question based on hearsay. We're giving you facts and evidence.
Well, you are wrong.
Well, I got another question from Ajibola William. He says, please tell us any corrupt person that this administration has successfully prosecuted.
That is not my job. I don't work in the EFCC. When you see the EFCC, you go and ask them. This is the point I'm making. Is that how to fight this kind of petty things? You want me naming names is what your own idea of fighting corruption.
Are you saying that?
There are so many, but that is such a trivial question to ask anyway.
Are you saying that perhaps now he is a registered voter? So let me land before you take off.
It's too trivial for you. So are you saying nobody has been?
Can I just finish the point? I mean, are you saying that the views that the electorate hold, whichever one of them, for instance, this one, is so trivial that you don't bother responding to it?
If you choose to interpret it that way.
No, I'm asking so you can clarify.
I'm just telling you that asking me to mention one name. I think that is too trivial. In any case, EFCC is there. Do you honestly believe that no, you cannot think it's impossible? I mean, please.
Is this the
I don't know. You don't ask me to name names. As I said, I don't work in EFCC.
No, if we don't know names, that means the government hasn't done well in that regard.
So according to the limits to the limits of your own.
Because if I'm a member of the PDP
knowledge,
and I'm here to serve the party, I should be able. And I say so many names. So long as the person is a convict already.
I don't know.
For instance, if you say there are many, then I should be able to name one to prove a point, so that people will know what we have done as a party in government.
It's not my. I don't work with you. Look, listen. We are not in an academic exercise. We are just bantering on rhetorics and semantics. I mean, look, you name one person. So, I mean, it's not a question that should be dignified. What? I don't feel.
If we were to have a debate, for instance, and we have the candidates.
When you see the chairman of EFCC, I don't know.
No, such debates. For instance, you are a presidential candidate, and that question is posed to you.
I cannot recall any name. But if you have the time,
would you say the agency should be the one to answer such questions?
Yes. Listen, if you are so taken with the question, I can't recall any now. But just give me 1 minute. Let me go through the web. And I will mention names for you. If you think it's that important to you, but it's not. No, I cannot recall any name.
Okay, I can give you if you want a moment.
Okay.
You want a
minute? Bring them. Let me go and get my phone.
You know, while we're waiting to do that, because I mean, Whether or not we accept it, one of the things that bothers Nigerians, I mean, we can talk about catching small fry. I mean, people who, you know, the internet scammers and what have you. And yes, we do know that the EFCC says they're doing a lot of work in that particular area. But one thing that bothers a lot of Nigerians is corruption in high places, corruption at government level. And people are saying, I mean, we did see what happened with the pension scam and how some people got off very lightly, you know, with something as grievous as putting or dipping their hands in monies that belong to people who have worked, who have served meritoriously and deserved a pension. And we saw how they got off lightly. I mean, you might say that that is the fault of the judiciary and not the fault of the executive arm of government. But it's in these areas that people are wondering, what is government doing? And yes, we say that, you know, it's not really very important because we cannot remember any names, and it doesn't mean that government is not doing anything anyway. But I'm looking at corruption in Nigeria on Transparency International on their website right now, and I'm looking at you know, some of the things that they have to say about corruption in relation to how it's viewed, security or insecurity. You say that in many areas, you know, security or corruption as a topic might not be important to the people who vote.
I never said that. At the point, anyway, go on.
I'm sorry if I misquoted you there, but I misunderstood you.
There are two classes of voters. You have the elitist voters, you have those not so elitist in the interior and the rural areas. It's an issue with that significant segment of society, the elitists. And the one I mentioned to you are those people who are so concerned with how to survive from day to day and will not readily be able to you know, assess or imagine, you know, the impact that corruption has on their lives.
In a place like the Northeast, where we've had serious security issues, would you say that those kinds of people, you know, both those living in the rural and living in the urban area, will be able to say that it is because of corruption and how it's affected, you know, insecurity, that the, you know, their lives have not been safe? Do you think that they will be able to draw that line or connection?
That is precisely the point I'm making. Many people are not able to draw that linkage, which I said is unfortunate, but that is the reality. They just it takes somebody who can conceptualize, you know, tie things together, you know, to be able to come out and see what corruption represents, and now it affects in that you cannot, maybe some other people cannot readily draw a linkage with, you know, owing to the level of education and
on whose shoulder would you lay that responsibility, Terry Chamberlain? If, for instance, now, I mean, I want to tie this with the statement of the governor who was quoted to have said, my people cannot read, so, you know, you can write all you want. On whose shoulder then would we lay that responsibility or irresponsibility, you know, that if people cannot read or if people cannot draw the line between, you know, their status of life and, you know, the level of, I mean, the current quality of life they experience and what exactly could be happening in high places that is depriving them of what they need to get their lives to be better?
Sorry, I'm the tape, but...
Okay.
Well, listen, the governor who made that is very unfortunate. I think it's the height of, you know, I don't want to use responsibility. For you now to travel in the fact that people are ignorant is not something that, it's something that should be condemned and criticized as much as anybody can. But the issue I've raised borders on education. That is what we are talking about. We want to have an enlightened citizenry or public. The basic thing that we need is education. Education right from the primary school level up to the university level. That is what makes you appreciate knowledge and the desire to acquire knowledge as an instrument for the betterment of yourself and also for the betterment of society. But I think the governor who made that statement should be condemned and criticized as is a very negative way especially since he is in a position, you know, to influence things positively, for his own people.